Have you ever sat beneath a quiet sky, looked up at the stars, and wondered what comes next? Not just after death, but after the resurrection, after the trumpet sounds, after the old world is made new. What will you do in heaven forever? For many, the idea of eternity feels vague, even unsettling. Floating on clouds, strumming harps, singing endless hymns that sounds more like spiritual retirement than divine destiny. But the Bible tells a different story, a bold, vibrant, breathtaking one. One filled not with monotony, but with meaning. Heaven isn't the end of your purpose, it's the beginning of its fullness. We were never created for boredom. From the Garden of Eden to the City of Revelation, God's plan has always involved activity, creativity, responsibility, and joy. Think about it. The God who sculpted galaxies, painted sunsets, and gave you laughter doesn't run out of ideas. He's not inviting you into an endless nap, he's calling you into the greatest adventure ever conceived. An adventure where every day reveals new beauty, deeper joy, and richer intimacy with the Creator himself. Ephesians 2:7 says that in the ages to come, God will show the immeasurable riches of his grace. A Jesnot, moments. That means heaven is layered, unfolding, eternal discovery. It's not a frozen moment in time. It's time redeemed. It's time fulfilled. Imagine never running out of wonder, never getting tired of peace, never losing your awe. That's what's ahead. You see, heaven is not a coping mechanism for death. It's the completion of life, the life you were meant for. The one sin tried to sabotage, but grace redeemed. Every tear wiped, every scar healed, every broken dream reborn in light. And now, you step into that eternity not as a ghost, but as a glorified, restored, fully alive child of God, with purpose, with joy, with something to do. So don't let the cartoons fool you. Don't reduce heaven to clouds and harps. That's not your future. Your future is love without loss, adventure without fear, creation without corruption, worship without walls, a world so rich in color and music and peace that even your wildest dreams couldn't imagine it. And the best part? This is just the beginning. What comes next will show you that eternity with God is not something to fear, it's something to long for. Because heaven is not about what ends, it's about what finally begins. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. A lion rests beside a lamb, their breath slow, their gaze gentle. No hunger in their eyes, no threat in their presence. The air is still, not with tension but with peace. This is not a fairy tale. This is Isaiah's vision, now come to life. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat. The curse that once gripped creation is gone. Fear is forgotten. Violence is undone. Nature, once wild with survival, now sings with harmony. And you're not just observing it, you're part of it. You'll walk beside creatures that once made you tremble. Stroke the mane of a lion as it yawns beside you. Run through golden fields with a cheetah racing at your side, not in competition, but in joy. You'll swim with dolphins that leap like laughter through crystal water, and rest beside bears whose strength now feels like comfort, not chaos. This is creation reclaimed. And it's not a moment, it's your new forever. Here, every tree pulses with life. Flowers bloom in colors no eye has ever seen. Skies stretch wider than memory. The stars don't just shine, they sing. Psalm 19 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God." And in heaven, you'll finally hear it. Not through telescopes or textbooks, but through experience, through awe. You'll walk into landscapes that seem like they were drawn from dreams, but they'll be more real than anything you've ever touched. Every mountain peak, every gentle stream, every living creature crafted to reflect a piece of God's imagination. And it's not just peace it's play. You'll run barefoot through meadows that never end. Lay down in fields with no danger of thorns. No need for fences or cages. The air will taste like joy. The wind will carry laughter. Every step will feel like home. For the first time since Eden, the world itself will breathe in rhythm with heaven. Isaiah 65:25 says, They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain. That means the world you enter will not just be beautiful, it will be safe. Safe to explore, safe to touch, safe to live in fully and fearlessly. Imagine that. Not a single shadow of dread, just wonder stretching out in every direction. So when you picture heaven, let go of grey clouds and floating choirs. Picture creation as it was meant to be restored, radiant, roaring with joy. And picture yourself in the middle of it, not as a visitor, but as a beloved heir, because this reclaimed, renewed world is your inheritance, and it's only the beginning. Imagine walking through heaven's streets, and suddenly there they are, the person you lost, the one whose laugh you memorized, the one whose absence left a hole nothing on earth could fill. But here, that moment is undone, tears replaced by laughter, distance replaced by embrace. And it's not a dream, it's not a fading memory, it's them alive, whole, radiant in glory. Heaven is reunion, not a short visit, not a goodbye waiting at the edge, but a reunion without end. Now look to your left. There's Moses, and he's smiling as if he's known you forever. You sit down beside him not as a student before a legend, but as a friend. You ask him what it felt like when the sea parted. You laugh when he tells you how nervous he really was. And just over the hill, David, singing, laughing, maybe even dancing. You catch his eye, and he walks over and says, "You made it, let's talk." This is the communion of saints, the family of faith, the cloud of witnesses now face to face. Jesus said in Matthew 8:11, "Many will come from the east and the west, and will take their places at the feast with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." That means this isn't metaphor. This is a banquet, a celebration, a gathering that spans generations and cultures. You'll sit down with the ones you've read about and the ones you've wept over. The reunion you've longed for will not only happen, it will never end. Think of your grandmother who prayed for you, the sibling taken too soon, the friend you couldn't say goodbye to. In heaven, time won't rush you. There's no clock ticking, no moments slipping through your fingers. There's only presence, only joy, only forever. Revelation 7:9 gives us the scene. A great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. This is not just a crowd, it's a family, God's family, and your home. You'll meet souls you never knew yet somehow recognize. A child from ancient China, a martyr from Rome, a believer from a future generation not even born when you were. Different faces, one spirit, one song, one love. Heaven destroys the divisions earth could never fix. Every misunderstanding, every language barrier, every prejudice gone. What's left is unity, harmony, celebration. So when you think about heaven, don't picture silence. Picture voices laughing, singing, telling stories, praying together. Picture arms wrapped around shoulders, meals shared without end, questions asked and finally answered. And above it all, the joy of knowing you never have to say goodbye again. Not to your heroes, not to your loved ones, not to anyone. Because in heaven, reunion isn't just an event, it's a way of life. And it lasts forever. Imagine walking toward a house you've never seen and somehow it feels like coming home. The door fits your hand perfectly. The path to the entrance is lined with the kind of trees you always loved, the scent of flowers you've never smelled but instantly recognize. This isn't random beauty, it's intentional love, every detail tailored, every stone chosen, every beam, window, and blade of grass placed with you in mind. Because this isn't just a house, this is the place Jesus himself prepared for you. John 14:2 isn't poetry, it's a promise. In my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you. The same hands that formed the galaxies have built your eternal home. Not with bricks and wood, but with glory and intention. You won't just visit heaven, you'll belong there. You'll live there. You'll be rooted. Maybe it's a house near a river that never dries, or nestled in hills that glow at sunrise. Maybe there's a porch that wraps around like a hug, or a library with books that never end. Maybe it's a cottage with flowers blooming year-round. Or maybe it's a room in a palace, gold in the walls, light in the air, peace in every step. There's no wrong version, because it will feel exactly right for you. Not generic, not mass-produced, handcrafted by the Savior who knows your soul. Isaiah 65:21 says, "They will build houses and dwell in them. They will plant vineyards and eat their fruit." That means heaven is not static. You won't just receive, you'll create. You'll design. You'll build. Not in exhaustion or limitation, but in joy. Imagine placing your hands on a wall and watching it shimmer into shape. Imagine planting a vineyard and knowing every vine will flourish. Every home will stand forever. No termites, no cracks, no keys needed because nothing broken ever enters the gates. And it might not be just one place. The Bible speaks of the New Jerusalem, a city of crystal and gold, where the streets reflect light like water and the walls shine with jewels. You could have a home in the countryside and a dwelling in that holy city, both yours, both eternal, both sacred, a private sanctuary and a place to gather, a peaceful retreat and a throne room of celebration. This is what it means to be welcomed, not as a guest, but as family. Not just into God's heaven, but into His heart. When you open the door to your heavenly home, you'll know, He saw me, He knew me, and He loved me enough to prepare this. No more searching, no more wandering. You are home, and you never have to leave. It's hard to imagine a body that doesn't ache, a mind that doesn't tire, a breath that doesn't catch. Here on earth, we carry pain like it's a second skin, chronic, invisible, unrelenting. Some were born with it. Others collected it along the way through illness, injury, or simply the slow erosion of age. But in heaven, pain doesn't follow you. It ends at the door, and what rises in its place will take your breath away. Isaiah 35 says, "Then will the eyes of the blind be opened, and the ears of the deaf unstopped. Then will the lame leap like a deer." Did you catch that? Not just walk, not just limp forward, but leap like joy finally got a body. In heaven, you won't just be healed. You'll be restored. You won't be a patched-up version of who you were. You'll be the version God always saw when He imagined you whole. You'll stand in strength, move with ease, sing with lungs that never falter, and dance with legs that never fail. Think of the child who never walked, the man who never saw a sunrise, the woman whose voice was stolen by disease. In heaven, nothing is missing, nothing is broken. Their stories will continue, but no longer under the weight of suffering. For the first time, they will taste what freedom feels like in the body. And so will you. You'll never sit in a waiting room again. Never hear the word incurable. Never watch the clock tick down in a hospital hallway. No wheelchairs, no canes, no scars, no side effects. Revelation 21:4 says, "There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." That's not a metaphor. That's a promise. And maybe you carried emotional wounds that never seemed to heal, grief buried so deep it became part of you, memories you tried to outrun. In heaven, even those will be healed, not erased, but redeemed. God doesn't whitewash your story, He finishes it. And His hands are gentle. His healing is complete. You'll look at yourself, your heavenly self, and be surprised. Not because you're someone else, but because you've never seen yourself like this before. Not burdened, not aging, not hurting, just light. Strength, peace. You won't grow weary. You won't break down. You won't fear what tomorrow might bring, because every tomorrow will be good. Every breath will be full. Every movement will feel like music. So yes, this one might shock you, because after a lifetime of adapting, surviving, enduring, it's hard to imagine life without pain. But that's exactly what heaven offers. Not just a better day, but a better body, a better life, and a joy that will never, ever fade. In the center of eternity stands a tree taller than memory, older than time, its roots stretching deep into the soil of paradise. This isn't a symbol. This isn't poetic allegory. This is the tree of life, real and radiant, waiting for you. Its branches stretch wide, casting shade like a promise. Its leaves shimmer with healing. And its fruit 12 kinds, one for every Monthiac bite pulsing with life straight from the heart of God. Revelation 22:2 says, "On each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations." That means this isn't just beauty, it's nourishment. Not just food, but fulfillment. You won't eat because you're starving. You'll eat because joy tastes better when it's shared. Every flavor will carry a memory you never lived but instantly remember. Every bite will open your spirit wider. You'll taste sweetness that can't be replicated, textures that make music in your mouth, colors so rich they glow even in your hands. And the best part? No decay, no rot, no limits. The fruit never spoils. It never runs out. Month after month, it offers something new, a different flavor, a new burst of wonder. No preservatives, no rush, no guilt, just perfect food, exactly as God intended from the beginning. Food that fills but never weighs you down. Food that celebrates life, not just sustains it. The leaves whisper with power. Healing drips from their veins not just for bodies, but for nations. Every war wound, every generational scar, every injustice that tore people apart healed under the canopy of this tree. Imagine a world where former enemies sit under its shade, laugh over its fruit, and forget why they ever fought. That's the world coming. That's the kingdom you're stepping into. And maybe you'll walk with someone you've missed hand in hand. Beneath those glowing branches, you'll sit and eat together. No more rushed meals, no more silent dinners, just communion, connection, peace. The tree will offer more than nourishment. It will offer moments, moments that last forever, moments that remind you, this is what Eden was meant to be, and now it's yours. So when you picture heaven, don't forget the feast, don't forget the tree. The one that stood at the beginning, guarded by angels after the fall, now planted once again in the heart of God's restored paradise, available, accessible, and endlessly generous. This isn't a myth, it's a meal that heals you, fills you, and forever reminds you, you were made for life, real life, eternal life, life that tastes like joy. Imagine placing your hands into soil that responds like it's alive, rich, warm, alive with promise. You press a seed into the ground, not with effort, but with joy, and instantly, it feels right. In heaven, you won't just observe beauty from a distance. You'll participate in it. You'll plant, you'll shape, you'll grow, and everything you touch will flourish. Isaiah 65:21 says, "They will plant vineyards and enjoy their fruit, not someone else's fruit, not borrowed beauty, yours." Heaven isn't a museum where you tiptoe through perfection. It's a canvas where you create it. The curse is lifted. The soil doesn't fight you anymore. No weeds, no thorns, no toil, just harmony between your hands and God's earth. Every seed you place will bloom. Every vine will bear fruit. Not just someday, not just once, but over and over again, life responding to your touch. You'll grow gardens not just for survival, but for joy. Picture rows of golden wheat swaying in rhythm to music only heaven hears. Orchards filled with fruit of every color shaped by your design, nourished by God's presence. Maybe you'll cultivate lavender fields that stretch for miles, or design cascading terraces of color that catch the morning light. Not to impress, but to celebrate. Not for labor, but for love. And you'll never grow tired. No aching knees, no broken tools, no disappointment. Isaiah 65:23 promises, "They will not labor in vain." That means everything you grow will thrive. Every leaf will shimmer. Every blossom will sing of God's creativity flowing through you. You'll walk through the garden you planted and feel it smiling back. And it's not just plants. Maybe you'll build, shape wood without splinters, mold stone that glows with purpose, construct homes or sculpt art, all of it flowing from a place of peace. In heaven, your work will no longer drain you, it will energize you. It will reflect who you are, who you were always meant to be. You might sit beneath a tree you raised from seed, its shade wrapping around you like a song, birds nesting in its branches, rivers humming nearby, and beside you, someone you love, a friend, a family member, a stranger who became a brother, sharing the fruit of your garden, laughing under a sky that never fades. This is the rhythm of eternity, not endless rest, but endless fulfillment, not idle hands, but joyful ones. In Eden, God planted a garden. In heaven, He lets you grow your own, because the Creator who made all things now invites you to co-create with Him. So when you picture heaven, don't just see stillness, see motion, see hands in the dirt, see vineyards in bloom, see the garden you will grow alive, eternal, and completely yours. Heaven is not flat. It's not a blank white space where time stands still and nothing changes. It's layered, living, limitless. A place where every horizon leads to something new. Scripture hints at cities of gold, rivers of life, trees that heal nations, but it doesn't stop there. What if those are just the beginning? What if the new heaven and the new earth stretch farther than your imagination ever dared to go? Revelation speaks of walls made of jasper, gates made of pearl, foundations lined with sapphire, emerald, and topaz. That's not minimalism, that's majesty. And those details, those vibrant, physical, tactile detail, tell us something crucial. Heaven is a real place, with structure, with variety, with geography that beckons you to explore. There are mountains you haven't climbed yet, oceans deeper than your thoughts, skies painted in colors no eye on earth has ever seen, cities filled with music, laughter, and light not man-made, but God designed. And maybe, just maybe, it doesn't end with one world. Colossians 1 says, "By Him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible." All things. What if part of your eternity is discovering them? Not just earth renewed, but creation expanded. Galaxies lit by the presence of God, planets untouched since the dawn of time, now blooming under your feet as you walk into them, not with fear but with freedom. No danger, no darkness, just discovery without end. There are no clocks in heaven, no ticking countdown, no rush to finish. You'll have time to explore every river, every peak, every glowing crystal hidden beneath waterfalls of light. You'll travel not with exhaustion, but with wonder. Maybe with a companion beside you, a loved one, an angel, Jesus Himself smiling as you gaze at what He's prepared for those who love Him. And every time you think you've seen it all, something new will open before you. Heaven is not repetitive. It's not static. It's a divine adventure, a treasure hunt across the canvas of God's imagination. Every step forward will awaken new joy. Every corner turned will unveil a part of His glory you've never encountered before. And none of it will overwhelm you, will welcome you. You won't explore to escape. You'll explore because joy was made to move. Because eternity is not a still frame, it's a living story. Your story, woven into God's. So when you think about heaven, lift your eyes. Look past the clouds, past the limits of what this world calls possible. And picture this, you fully alive stepping into a creation that has no edge, no fear, and no end. Just wonder, waiting to be found. There are no microphones in heaven, no pulpits, no lighting cues, no bulletins printed for Sunday service. And yet, the moment you arrive, worship begins effortless, unforced, rising like breath from every soul. There are no walls here, because the glory of God needs no frame. No pews, because no one is seated for long. You'll hear the sound before you see it. Voices million seats unique, each full, all woven together into a single, sacred harmony. Isaiah 66 says, "All flesh will come to worship before me." That means all skin colors, all languages, all stories. You won't need translation. The Spirit is the language. You'll stand beside someone from a tribe you've never heard of and sing the same truth in perfect unity. No one will argue about doctrine. No one will fight for position. No one will care who leads, because the King of Kings stands in the center, and every eye is fixed on Him. And when you see Him, really see Him, everything else will fade. the questions you carried, the pain you buried, the doubts you whispered when the night was too long, they will all dissolve in the light of his face. You'll look into his eyes and realize, this is what I was made for, to worship, not in ritual, not in performance, but in presence. You won't be singing because it's the right thing to do. You'll be singing because you won't be able to hold it in. The praise will pour out of you like sunlight breaks through clouds. Some will dance, some will kneel, some will weep with joy so deep it becomes a song of its own. And in that sea of worship, you'll feel no pressure to be like anyone else. Because worship in heaven isn't about blending in, it's about becoming who you really are. Revelation 7:9 paints the moment. A great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. There's no platform, no hierarchy, just people redeemed, radiant, rejoicing, singing as one, and Jesus in the center, receiving every note, every tear, every whisper of praise like treasure. And you'll know without a shadow of doubt you're home. You're not visiting God's house. You are God's house. You're not waiting for heaven to begin. You're in it, fully, finally, forever. So don't picture heaven as a quiet sanctuary or a distant throne room. Picture a field wide as the sky, lit with glory, echoing with laughter and song. Picture your voice joining an eternal choir, not rehearsed, not scheduled, just real, just holy, just you face to face with the one who saved you, worshipping without walls, without end. You've never seen a city like this, not in any book, not in any dream. This isn't stone and steal its light. Revelation 21 unfolds like a vision finally coming into focus. The city doesn't rise from the ground. It descends prepared like a bride, radiant with purpose, gleaming with glory. Its foundations shimmer with 12 different jewels: jasper, sapphire, emerald, amethyst each, one catching divine light and refracting it like praise. The streets? Not just paved with gold, they are gold. So pure, so transparent, they shine like glass beneath your feet. There is no temple, no need, because the Lord himself is the temple. You won't have to go looking for Godivari stone. Every breath, every step will thrum with his presence. The city doesn't need a sun, doesn't need a moon, because the glory of God lights it from within, and the Lamb is its lamp. No shadows fall here, no darkness lingers, day never ends, and night never comes. And yet, it's not a silent, glowing shrine. It's a living city, full of movement, full of laughter, full of life. People from every tribe and tongue enter through gates made of pearl, 12 gates, never closed. There are no guards, no warnings, no fear. Nothing impure ever enters, not because of restrictions, but because impurity doesn't exist anymore. It's been undone, burned away by grace, buried in the old world. What's left is holy. What's left is home. You will walk here, not float, not hover. You'll feel the cool, smooth gold beneath your feet. You'll hear music echoing through alleys lined with living light. You'll pass fountains that sing and trees that dance in wind that feels like peace. Every corner will invite you deeper. Every building will shimmer with stories. You'll find yourself in conversations that last hours or centuries. Time won't bind you. Glory will. Maybe you'll turn a corner and see someone you've longed for. Maybe you'll stand at a balcony and gaze out at a horizon that has no end. And as you do, you'll realize something sacred. This city was built for you. Not just a place to live, but a place to belong. You are not a tourist. You are a citizen of the New Jerusalem. And all around you, majesty sings. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It whispers from every light-drenched wall, every ripple of the river of life, every step you take toward the throne that anchors it all. God's throne, radiant, unshakable. And from it flows life, light, and love without end. So when you think of heaven, don't think small. Don't think clouds and silence. Think architecture made of glory. Think a city where righteousness lives. Think New Jerusalem, not imagined, not symbolic, real, eternal, lit not by stars but by the face of God himself. You've never heard music like this. It doesn't just enter your ears, it moves through you, like light through stained glass, like wind through leaves. It's not background, it's the atmosphere itself. Every note feels alive, charged with meaning, humming with glory. In heaven, music doesn't begin, it continues. It's always been playing, from the moment creation breathed its first. You've only caught whispers of it here, but there, you'll hear the whole song. Imagine standing in a place where the sky itself sings, where angels don't perform, they worship, where melodies rise from rivers, from trees, from the very stones of the city. It's not noise. It's not loud for the sake of grandeur. It's layered, precise, intimate, a symphony of the redeemed and the divine, woven together in perfect unity. You'll hear instruments you've never seen, harmonies no earthly choir could ever attempt, and in the middle of it, your voice clear, strong, and finally free. You won't wonder if you're singing the right notes. You won't hold back in fear or embarrassment. In heaven, your voice will be what it was always meant to be, an instrument of praise. You'll sing, not to be heard, but because you can't help it. And when your voice joins the others, it won't get lost. It will fit. It will matter. You'll feel it blend, lift, rise like a wave of color rolling across eternity. The Bible says in Job 38:7 that the morning stars sang together when God laid the foundations of the earth. That means music has always been part of God's story. In heaven, it becomes the language of love, of memory, of wonder. Every chord will reveal something new about His character, His mercy in a minor key, His joy in a chorus, His power in a thunderous crescendo that shakes the heavens with holy fire and still leaves you weeping with peace. And maybe you'll learn to sing beside the angels. Maybe Gabriel himself will teach you a hymn only sung in the throne room. Or maybe you'll sit with David as he strums a harp that echoes through galaxies. You won't just listen, you'll participate. Music in heaven isn't entertainment. It's communion. It's truth, wrapped in sound. And when the Lamb walks into the room, the music will shift. It always does. Not to announce Him, but to reflect Him. His presence creates harmony. His smile begins new songs. And when your eyes meet His, the only thing left to do will be to worship with everything you have, not out of duty but delight. So when you think of heaven, don't imagine silence. Imagine sound pure, holy, eternal, music like thunder, music like silk, music that fills the soul and awakens the spirit. And at the center of it all, the God who sings over you and invites you to join the song that never ends. You weren't made for boredom, not here, and not in heaven. The ache you feel now, the pull toward meaning, the desire to make a difference, to build, to lead, to love with impact that doesn't disappear when you step into eternity. It deepens, it awakens. Because in heaven, purpose isn't erased, it's fulfilled. Revelation 22:5 says, "And they will reign forever and ever." Not drift, not observe, reign. That means there will be authority, roles, kingdoms, assignments designed by the King Himself, crafted for who you are and what you've become. You won't just worship at His feet, you'll serve at His side, and what you do will matter forever. You may be called to shape cities, to lead nations reborn, to cultivate communities that thrive under the warmth of eternal peace. There may be councils, missions, real responsibility, not as a burden, but as joy, not with competition, but with clarity. There will be no pride to corrupt it, no failure to fear, only the pure, unstoppable flow of purpose handed to you by the one who knows exactly what you were made for. Think about that. God didn't just save you from something, He saved you for something. And eternity is where that something begins to unfold without limit. Your skills, your passions, your faithfulness, they don't fade. They grow. They find new life. Maybe you'll create works of art that reflect heaven's beauty. Maybe you'll teach, guide, nurture, or explore realms of wisdom humanity never reached. Maybe you'll be entrusted with leading others, not to power but to praise. And you'll never feel overwhelmed, never burnt out, never lost in the crowd. Because in heaven, there's no shortage of value, no scarcity of significance. Every soul shines, every purpose matters. The body of Christ will move with such unity, such rhythm, that your role will feel like music written for your soul alone. You won't clock in, you won't count down the hours. You'll live in time that stretches not in monotony, but in meaning. And every act of service will be an act of worship. Every assignment another way to say, "Thank you, Lord, for bringing me here, for letting me do this, for letting me be me." So when you think of heaven, don't think of retirement. Don't picture white robes and idle hands. Picture a kingdom alive with purpose, a people alive with destiny. Picture yourself not fading away, but rising into everything you were always meant to become. Because in the presence of the King, your story doesn't end. It begins again stronger, clearer, and filled with purpose that never ends. There's a justice this world cannot offer, a justice no courtroom can deliver, because some wounds run too deep, some betrayals cut too silently, and some prayers whispered in the dark never seem to echo back. But in heaven, nothing is lost. Not the tears, not the sleepless nights, not the quiet faith that held on when no one else saw. Revelation 21:4 says, "He will wipe away every tear from your eyes." Not with a cloth, with his hand, tender, personal, not a gesture of pity, but of final healing. In heaven, justice is not delayed, it's delivered, not by force, not by revenge, but by restoration. God doesn't just punish evil, he undoes it. Every wrong you suffered? Answered. Every lie spoken against you? Silenced. Every loss that hollowed you out? Filled. Not with explanation, but with peace. Not with words, but with presence. Some people lived their whole lives waiting for justice and never saw it. They were overlooked, oppressed, wounded by systems and by people who walked away without consequence. But no one escapes the eyes of God, and no child of his walks into eternity empty-handed. The balance will be restored not by human scale, but by divine hand. And then there are the moments that justice can't even touch, memories that ache, regrets that linger, shame that hides in corners even forgiveness couldn't fully clean. In heaven, even those are redeemed. You won't just forget your pain, you'll see it through new eyes, through healed eyes, eyes that no longer flinch when the past comes close. Because God won't just change your future, he'll heal your history. Isaiah 61 says he will give you beauty for ashes. That's not symbolic, that's literal. Every season of mourning you endured will be answered with joy that doesn't fade. Every betrayal that shattered your trust will be replaced by a love so steady, it becomes your new foundation. Every time you were treated unfairly, judged falsely, dismissed or discarded, it will all be set right. Not in theory. In reality, you'll stand in a place where there is no corruption, no injustice, no manipulation of truth. There are no broken systems in heaven, no abuse of power, no hidden agendas, only righteousness, only truth, only God, ruling with perfect clarity and inviting you to rest in it forever. So when you picture heaven, don't just see beauty. See justice. See the end of suffering. See the fulfillment of every holy ache in your soul. The God who saw it all, the pain, the silence, the injustices, the same God who will make all things new. Even the parts you thought were too broken, even the wounds you learned to hide. In heaven, nothing is swept under the rug. Everything is lifted into the light, and in that light, finally justice, finally peace. This is the moment everything was leading to. Every chapter, every promise, every whisper in the dark fulfilled. Not in a place, in a person. You will see him, not through a veil of faith, not as a distant figure in a stained glass window, but face to face. Jesus, the one who walked on water, the one who wept at Lazarus' tomb, the one who stretched his arms wide on a cross because he refused to let you go. He will stand before you, and you will know in an instant he was worth it all. You won't fall at his feet because of fear. You'll fall because your soul finally found its home. His eyes won't look through you. They'll look into you with love so pure, it will undo every lie you believed about yourself. and then he'll lift you up, call you by name, smile like you're the only one in the kingdom. And maybe he'll laugh, because joy can't help but rise when love is that real. Revelation 21:3 says, God himself will be with them and be their God. Not angels on his behalf, not distant light, him, the one who authored the galaxies, the one who walked the dusty roads of Galilee, the one who sat with sinners and silenced storms, that God will walk with you, and you will walk with him. And the beauty of it? You won't be competing for his attention. There will be no lines, no waiting rooms. Eternity has no shortage of moments, and every moment with him will feel like the first, fresh, intimate, unhurried. You might walk beside him through fields of flowers that bloom with each step, or sit with him by the river of life, watching the water dance in his reflection. You might talk, or sit in silence, and in that silence, feel more seen than you ever did with 1,000 words. He will wipe away every tear knot just to stop the sadness, but to personally declare, you're safe now, you're home, no more separation, no more wondering if he hears you. You'll hear his voice no as thunder, but as the familiar sound your soul was created to recognize. And when the great worship begins, you won't be a spectator. You'll join the chorus, your voice rising with millions of others, not to impress but to adore, to say, worthy, to say, thank you, to say, I'm here, because you never gave up on me. So when you think of heaven, let this be the picture that stays with you. Not the gold, not the gardens, not the gifts, but the face, the hands that still bear the scars, the eyes that have only ever looked at you with love. That's heaven's greatest treasure, not the place, the person. And one day, soon, you'll see him, not in a story, but in glory, forever.